guess check 1, check 2. I guess check 1, check 2. I guess check 1, check 2. We must be live, everyone. All right. I'm having one of those days with the technology where I can't figure out again where the chat is, where the all of my materials are for this. But today is my only day to bring to you your 56 and under. And I will start by letting everybody know it's not Wednesday like it usually is. But we're going to do it in an evening episode of 56 and under. So let's hit the opening edit and get started. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next episode of 56 and Under, where to be or not to be is always the question. My name is Sam Skibbe, your host of MO WIFF's Wednesday show, but today it's on Tuesday evening on the weekly content schedule live on Twitch, where usually instead of eating food on my lunch break, you get your fill of whiffs instead. But today you get me in the evening, as tomorrow looks to be a busy day ahead of me with work, and it is my daughter's 4th birthday. So I don't want to be spending time with you dorks, but instead with my beautiful newly aged 4-year-old daughter. Happy birthday, Wyatt. Don't forget to subscribe to the MO WIFF Twitch channel and hit that bell to be notified of any time we go live here on Twitch. As you can tell, my voice is different than it normally is. I lost my voice this past weekend and I'm gradually getting it back. But I do want to bring to you this episode because I think it's going to be a special episode of 56 and Under. There was no episode last week as there were no games the previous week. And next week there will also be no show as there will be no games on Thursday this week. Instead of MO WIFF on Thursday, we will all be saving our arms as many players head to the first national tournament of the year, the NWLA tournament in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the 14th installment of this national tournament, which is what most of our episode today is going to be centered around. I've had the pleasure of going to every single NWLA tournament. There are only 2 players in tournament history that have been a part of this tournament every single year. And I'm honored, along with David Ayers of KWL, to be the only 2 that have gone to every single tournament. And I will be there this weekend with the SWBL Cardinals back again. But we are going to start with our recap of MO WIFF last week. We saw more great matchups, starting with the divisional matchup between the Archers and the Mambas. No James Klein for the second time in a row for the Archers, but it's still no slouch on the pitching side of things for the Archers, with Drew Maurer and Tony Cochran still in attendance. Maurer outlasted James Dutton for the Archers and got the big win. Sam Eichenlaub with the home run off James Dutton, and kind of was the first one to tag James Dutton for many runs, the Archers were. And then Justin Hall gets his first win as a Mamba as they split the series, and Justin Hall was just announced as the pitcher of the week and well-deserved for his no-hitter as well. The Archers now sit at 7-6 and the Mambas at 6-7, and it's going to be a crazy finish for this division down the stretch. Very different schedules for these 2 teams as they end their season. Both are at 13 games right now, and both only have 4 games remaining. The Archers have a very favorable schedule and could easily go 11-6 the rest of the way and pushing towards that division title. But they're all division games that they have left. 3 of them just so happen to be against the last place Kings in their division. And then there's 1 game left against the Mambas. Who will win that series will be decided as well. The Mambas' remaining schedule includes all of their games are against top 3 teams in the power rankings right now. 1 against the Archers, 1 against the Mojo, and 2 against the Thunderbirds. So they easily, and the Mambas are a team that, yes, they could still go 10-7, sweep out the rest of the way. Their hitting is that good. They could also go 6-11 and make it really interesting down the stretch as we're starting to fight for playoff spots. So that's probably the toughest schedule remaining. The Mambas have the toughest schedule remaining, in my opinion, and the Archers have a pretty favorable one. So two very different endings that those teams, I think, will have, and how they will handle those games for sure. Mambas have to pretty much go for every single game. The second matchup series that we saw behind me is game one. The Thunderbirds swept the Kings, but it wasn't easy for the T-Birds as Nick Bone gave them everything they could handle, with the first game ending just 1-0. And then in game two, they had to make a comeback. The Thunderbirds had to make a comeback to kind of get the sweep as they were down 4-3 at one point. The crazy part of all this, as the Kings fall to 4-7, they are still in the hunt. They have 6 games remaining on their schedule, and 2 of them are against the 2-win Melonheads. If they can somehow sneak out a sweep, all of a sudden that's the same record as the Mambas, and they basically only have to win 1 more if the Mambas lose the rest of their season. So they're going to be playing that, okay, if the Mambas win, we got to win another one. They got to keep going. So it's going to be a really crazy stretch that these teams are going to be fighting for that last spot in that division. And I can't help but wonder, and I hate to say this, and it might be too soon, but I can't help but wonder if they had Wheeler, Hall, and Jordan still on the Kings. I mean, I tell you what, it might be a team that would make a push for the playoffs and beyond. So the Kings still in contention, especially when Johnny Gunn makes that return. I think they can make some damage and make some surprises for the rest of the way. If you haven't seen any of the games, go back and watch them. It's going to be a crazy finish down the stretch. We saw some great pitching, some great hitting. Brody Livingston getting the hitter of the week, 2 triples in that one as well. So 2 triples in one series is crazy as all these teams vie for limited playoff spots and their seeding. Today, we will have 3 segments on our 56 and under, and every single segment tonight is going to be the same segment. We are going to have 3 top 5 lists. So all of them will have to do with the NWLA tournament coming up. There will be no make a case like I did last time. There's no over-under predictions, and there's no headshot this week. Even though I know Cam gave himself one. I forgot who was, Sam Eichenlaub, I believe, and Cam both gave themselves a headshot because they were muted for an entire half inning. But this is just going to be top 5s for our segment. So, sorry about that, folks. Maybe I should have given the headshot to them like this. Pew, 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 pew. That's all I got for you because my voice is gone. So the pews are not as high. But Cam Smith and Sam Eichenlaub getting their self-proclaimed headshot being muted on the commentary for an entire half inning. Now, let's get to it. I have 3 top 5 lists for you, and the first top 5 list that I'm going to do has the MO WIFF connection, and that is the top 5 MO WIFF players that are going to make the biggest impact in the NWLA tournament this weekend. So 5 players with an honorable mention that I think are going to make the biggest impact in the NWLA tournament weekend. And starting with my honorable mention is going to be the return of Spencer Bogad to the SWBL. I put him in the honorable mention because is he really a MO WIFF player if he hasn't played all year long? I don't really know, so I kind of kept him in the honorable mention. But Spencer Bogad joining the SWBL Cardinals back again after a 2-year hiatus. The last time he was a part of it was in Indianapolis, where he pitched against Circle City and lost in the finals against Circle City, and then the next year was rooting from afar in Pittsburgh, and then last year couldn't make it as well when it was in Minnesota. But Spencer Bogad coming back not only helps this lineup, gives them an extra bat possibly, and he hasn't pitched all year long, so will his arm play into the SWBL roster? This is a Spencer Bogad. This is a player that has been one of the most respected and is high up on the leaderboards in many pitching categories, pitching against in the finals and the semifinals against some of the best pitchers that this tournament has ever seen. So Spencer Bogad has pitcher of the tournament, all tournament pitching honors before, so it's nice that the SWBL can kind of get back some of their heart and soul with Spencer Bogad. In my number 5 spot for Team NWA, I have James Dobb making an impact. And the reason I have James Dobb there is because James Dobb was an elite hitter for the NWA team last year in Minnesota. He was one of the big reasons why they made it to the finals and brought him into MO WIFF and was drafted so high was because of his performance that he had at the NWLA tournament. It hasn't quite it hasn't quite gone his way in MO WIFF, but I think getting that yellow bat back in his hand, he's going to have to return to that elite status when they're going to need his bat to step up for the NWA team. Number 4, before I do that, I just got to group me. So Brian Hunter clearly isn't watching this one, but he is saying happy birthday to Michael Dobbs. So speaking of Dobbs, family affair, happy birthday, Michael Dobbs, today. Number 4, I have Cam Smith. Cam Smith is going to be an impact player in this tournament, has been an impact player for many years. It's going to be his experience that leads that MO WIFF team as the new captain of the MO WIFF team, and he is taking the reins. He's the one making those decisions now. So it's going to be exciting to see how Cam Smith falls into that role for MO WIFF, providing that team some stability and some experience. So Cam Smith is going to lead that team, hopefully into a continuation of success that he has seen in the past. At number 3, I have another MO WIFF player. I have a guy behind me that was pitching previously to Nick Bone, and that is Brody Livingston. You got to believe Brody Livingston getting the yellow bat back in his hand like he had at BLW is going to provide him some more confidence. Obviously, he's a fantastic big barrel bat hitter as well, but he also proved in the Mattoon, Illinois tournament that he can pitch, and he pitches a lot of strikes, and that's what you need in this tournament. Now, will teams maybe catch up to him? Maybe, but with a lot of strikes, but him pitching strikes and limiting the walks is going to be huge for the MO WIFF team. So Cam and Brody kind of at the top of the helm there for the 1-2 of their pitching is going to be a great thing for MO WIFF in this tournament coming up. At number 2, impact player for a team, I have Josh Wheeler for NWA. Josh Wheeler is basically replacing Landon Lawson. This is his first clean ball national tournament. He had his first clean ball tournament in Mattoon, Illinois, and talked to Josh a little bit, kind of refining his arsenal, trying to throw a bit more strikes than he had, but pitched very well in the Mattoon, Illinois tournament. So Josh Wheeler stepping into that role for NWA to repeat the success without Landon Lawson. Josh Wheeler has to be the guy. So Josh Wheeler hopefully will be the impact player for NWA. And I've listed an SWBL player, I've listed MO WIFF players, I've listed 2 NWA players. You might be thinking, those are the Missouri teams. That's the MO WIFF impact, right? But there's one more team, and that's Verona. Verona had in their league, Chandler Melton and Caden Rice are going to be representing, but also Connor Jaso. Connor Jaso playing with the Flamingos in other tournaments, was able to get qualified with Verona due to playing with them in other tournaments. So Connor Jaso is my number 1 for this list of MO WIFF players that are going to make the biggest impact this weekend at NWLA. Connor Jaso started as a clean ball pitcher. I was one of the first hitters to face Connor Jaso in his clean ball national tournament debut in Pittsburgh 2 years ago. And it was terrifying, to say the least. Connor was one of the more terrifying pitchers we have ever faced. The fact that we got a win simply on a walk was something that we prided ourselves on, making sure we were the first ones to see him. But he has only refined his craft and gotten better and better. And every time he comes onto the MO WIFF field at Miracle Field in Chesterfield, he makes an impact for the Mojo. So he's going to be that impact player for Verona. WWW didn't quite use Connor the way they should have in that tournament, pitching him in pool play and not pitching him enough in double a limb. But Connor Jaso probably going to be the double a limb pitcher for Verona, and they will go as far as he takes them in their starts. It's a matter of Verona giving him the leads to hopefully he doesn't have to pitch more than 2 innings. And then Caden Rice and their other pitchers can step up as well for them. With no Sean Hornberger, it's going to be a little difficult for Verona, but Connor Jaso can lead the charge and take over where Sean left off last year in Minnesota. that is my first top five list for the MO WIFF players that'll make the biggest impact this weekend. There are many more I could have mentioned, but those are the five, plus the honorable mention that I would mention for this one. Let's move on to the next top five. The next top five is a little bit different. I'm going to go a team route this time. And there are 16 teams competing in the NWLA tournament this year. Out of those 6 teams, there are 6 of them, I believe I did that math right, that have made a championship appearance. So they've made an appearance in the finals. The 2 teams that haven't won that have made an appearance are both from Missouri. The SWBL and NWA are the 2 teams that have made an appearance in the finals but have lost every time they've made the appearance. So Missouri as a whole is 0 for 5 in finals, and they are 0 for 3 the past 3 years. There are 3 Missouri teams heading to Pittsburgh again this weekend for the NWA tournament. So can they make it 4 years in a row where a Missouri team is in the finals? We will see. Now, for our top 5 teams, I have the top 5 teams that will possibly make their first finals appearance in 2025, and kind of a case for each one. So my honorable mention is going to be the CCW second team, Dirt. I know that Rudy I forgot what the acronym stood for, but the Dirt League, CCW's, it was just going to be kind of an extra league. It's a slow pitch league that they play in. It's a way for more people to get involved, play something different throughout the summer. So Dirt was kind of their slow pitch league that has been grandfathered in. This is, I think, their 3rd or 4th time coming to NWA tournament. So it's nice to have them back in Pittsburgh, and the second time they've been in Pittsburgh as well. So Dirt coming back, headed up by Rudy Lyon, and this roster, while many people will say it's the CCWB team, this roster could beat much of the field that is there in NWA tournament and should not be overlooked. This roster has pitching, hitting, and fielding, all athletic, many young players that play this game. And in CCW, when you're facing off against some of those elite pitchers week in and week out, and you're getting those reps, you're only going to be battle tested for this tournament coming up. So my honorable mention is the Dirt League. Coming in number 5 is Mid-Atlantic Wiffle. Mid-Atlantic probably would be higher on my list, but the list that they came out with for their roster has some unknown players on it. We have Jared Bull, who's making I believe it's his first appearance that he's made. Dan Potter coming back to the team. Adam Millsy hasn't played since I think the second Indy year. And then you have Bryce Clark coming over and playing with Mid-Atlantic, who has probably the most experience out of everybody on this roster. They have pitching, they have hitting. Can they make a run? Absolutely. They have that Way Too Beautiful York Yaks connection. They're going to be a great vibes team that they're going to have out there, and they have the experience to make a deep run. Could possibly be their first finals appearance if they had all of those other players that normally come with them, but they're kind of spread out. Vin and Nick Lee have gone to AWAA. You have some other mall players on AWA too. Nate Cruz, etc. Bryce Clark's teammate from UF. And then you have Chris Sarnowski coming with Will. So they're all kind of spread out in different places. But this team can still make a run. My number 4 team is going to be Major League Wiffle to make their first championship run. They're going to have to rely on the Ryan Cratched and Jimmy Norp Brigade. Now, this team has loads of talent on both sides of the ball. Jackson Pearson, another one joining this team. So you're gonna see pockets of teams that have a lot of pitching depth, but this might be one that has a lot as well. It's just a matter of taking away that Kyle Schultz scuff ball, adding in the clean ball, and getting used to it. Their hitting is going to be there. Their fielding is going to be amazing as usual. It's just a matter of coming down to the pitching to make that run. MLW is my number 4 pick. Coming in at number 3, I have our fellow Missouri League, MO WIFF. MO WIFF's bringing the best roster that they brought. It's their second year, and they've only improved. Obviously, adding the captain and the experience with Cam Smith, has been in the big games year in and year out. You have Brody Livingston, who has tons of experience in wiffle ball, has some big game experience with past tournaments that he's played in. And then you have Spencer Foss, going to be their top 3-headed monster for their pitching. But that doesn't stop there. They have players from all over that can pitch. hit. It's going to be really interesting to see how Cam places all of their lineups and their pitching rotation as they continue through this tournament, but they definitely have a legitimate shot of making their first championship appearance. At number 2, I have Verona as the other, somewhat has some MO WIFF players involved. I think that these are players that are only going to continue to grow. Jeremy Adams, you lose Sean Hornberger, but then you add Connor Jaso, kind of picks up right where you left off. If Caden Rice can step up and be that big number 2 for them, and I know there's many more players that they're excited about showcasing in this tournament, I think that they have the pieces, and they were so close in double elimination to continuing on. We played them in their elimination game. It was a 1-0 game with Sean Hornberger versus Jackson Crosley, and they are the real deal, and adding in a guy like Connor Jaso is only going to make them a firepower even more. So Verona's at my number 2. And my number 1 team, I can't believe I'm saying it, I can't believe they've never had a championship appearance, and they probably would have in Pittsburgh 2 years ago if it wasn't for the rain. Ridley Park. This is, in my opinion, the most loaded team from top to bottom, and that includes CCW. CCW has probably 3 of the top 5 pitchers in this tournament, in my opinion. 3 of the top 5 pitchers. But 1 to 8, Ridley Park is probably my pick for the most depth. And they have Brendan Bowes, they have Cam Farrow, Teddy Dretcher, Sean Bingner, Colin Pollock. I don't even have a list in front of me. I'm just kind of listing off memory here. Frankie Campanelli. There's so many more that you can name. Sorry if I forgot the last 2. Tommy Loftus. Tommy Loftus is one of the more feared 103-mile-an-hour throwers of the past, and he is on this roster kind of hidden away. Ridley Park is going to make a run. It's just a matter of, are they going to win it all? Are they going to lose in the championship? Are they going to get to the semis and fall short again of the finals? I see them as their ceiling is number 1 and their floor is 4th place. I don't think they get any lower than 4th, and I would be so surprised if they did. This team is battle-tested. The Long Balls and Maw have been playing like madmen on a mission. Ridley Park is my pick to make their first championship and is probably my overall pick with CCW in the finals. CCW in the finals, trying to repeat. Ridley Park might stop them. That's my guess for this year's finals championship. All right, that is my top 5 plus the honorable mention of the teams that will make their first finals appearance in 2025, which brings us to our last top 5 list. Thank you for sticking with me, everybody. This next top 5 list is going to move past this year of NWLA, and it's going to give you a little bit of a preview of next year's 15th anniversary NWLA tournament in St. Louis. Yes, you heard it here, folks. The SWBL, MO WIFF, and NWA will all be co-hosting the NWLA tournament, the 15th installment of this tournament in 2026, here in the Gateway to the West. I have 5 things plus an honorable mention I'm going to go through. That's things to be excited for and things to watch out for in St. Louis, and why this event we are so excited to put on, and we think it's going to be one of the best NWLA tournaments yet. The honorable mention, excited thing, is actually something that's going to happen this tournament in Pittsburgh right now. And I want everybody, if you're out there listening, for anybody that is coming to this year's NWLA tournament, or even if you're not coming to this year's NWLA tournament and you still want to participate in St. Louis, I'm looking at like an HRL situation, they couldn't make it this year. Are they going to come next year? MNWA might want to come back. Brewing, if it being so close, want to come back. There's Leroy, if you want to come back. You're so close. If you want to play in St. Louis, the best time to register for the 2026 NWLA tournament, we are doing a special pricing. It is the cheapest price to register for the tournament since Galloway first 2 years. And the Galloway first 2 years was basically $0. Galloway, the first year, it was absolutely nothing, paid for everything. Hotel, gas, wanted to get those original 8 teams out to the tournament and put on everything. The second year, I think we paid for our hotels, or one little item that we paid for. And then year after that, started charging registration fees, just as a way to hold your place. Same thing as applied. In past years, we've gotten a little more expensive. We lost Chris Galloway's funding, so we had to kind of up the ante. This is the cheapest price that we have had for an NAA tournament, and it's only available when you're in Pittsburgh. It is $115. The 15 is for the 15th anniversary. We were going to go with 150. We're like, you know what? Let's make it even lower. 115 is the goal. I know it was 150 to hold your spot in this year's tournament, and then you pay the remaining amount before the tournament. But this would be your entire price, $115. There's a caveat though. It is non-refundable. We don't want to offer this price and then people to back out. So this is a non-refundable $115. But if you're a team or a league out there that's like, you know what? We know we're coming. It's in St. Louis, we're close enough, or we know we're going to be there. We're going to get a team involved. Why not just Venmo? And the Venmo is going to be only for at Pittsburgh to make it easier. You're going to Venmo at Skibbe Wiffle Ball. Once you Venmo at Skibbe Wiffle Ball, it'll be basically an announcement. Boom. It'll go on like you're already registered for next year. If you're interested, $115, that's the pricing structure. After that tournament, after Pittsburgh tournament, it goes up to $200 and a pricing structure of $250 and $300 in other parts closer to the tournament. We will announce that before this year's tournament, so you can see that going probably in the next couple of days. But $115, save your spot for 2026 today. Whew. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk there. Number 5. Our number 5 thing to be excited for is our lofty goal that we have for this tournament, and that is we want it to have 20 teams minimum. We haven't had 20 teams in quite a long time. We want to bring back 20 teams, and we have the opportunity to do it with the field that we are renting, and we think we can pull in enough people. There's plenty of leagues here in Missouri. There's plenty of leagues surrounding in the Midwest. We want to bring back, the Pittsburgh area teams. Ridley Parks was sad to miss Minnesota. Will was sad to miss Minnesota. We want to bring them back. We've talked to Tim and Paul Cook about working with the Mid-Atlantic schedule. We've talked to Kyle Schultz and Pat Ballin about working with the MLW schedule. We want to make this the most teams that we've seen since the regionals and Chris Galloway era. We can fit 20. We can fit 24. Any more than that, we might have to have a conversation. But our goal is 20 teams. Help us get there. That's our lofty goal, and we want you to be a part of it. Number 4 is to showcase more Missouri talent. We have other leagues out there that we have. We have a Dustin Hitchcock separate league who's on the Kings, behind me here playing now. But Lawa was a league that was played with. That's where Tony Cochran and Rory Rank came up in. We want them to have a team. Yellow Bats, close by, one of the best fields in the country, one of the most well-known fields in the country, is also right there from that bar that they have. But Yellow Bats has a league. We want them to bring a team. We have MO WIFF teams. We have SWBL teams, NWA. We want to bring all those Missouri teams and show that Missouri talent, and then also the surrounding talent in Indiana and Illinois, and have a close place for them to go. Our number 3 most excited thing is it's a 15th anniversary. Anniversaries are fun. So why not make it a big deal, have some really cool opportunities for the leagues, and we want to bring back some of the great leagues and teams that we've seen. We saw AWAA return this year. Are they a league anymore? No. But bringing back those past champs and bringing back people that are bringing the same rosters that they brought in the past is something that I think this tournament might go towards. We want to bring back WSEM. We want to bring back Tampa Bay. We want to have HRL return and other Wiffle favorites like MNWA and Brewing that we've said in the past. Bring all these people back that might want to come, even if WSEM doesn't play anymore. Find a roster of 6 guys that played on your team once before and come back and play. How great would it be to have OCWA and Tampa Bay come back for a tournament like this? So we're thinking about pulling that all the stops for the 15th anniversary. My number 2 reason is a big one. It almost could be number 1, and that is the continuation of Jake Davies' fantastic work that he has done in Pittsburgh the past 2 times. He works tirelessly and endlessly to put on this amazing show. He is a Wiffletarian through and through. His great work with ESPN, established sponsors, making this an event that will be remembered this year in Pittsburgh, it's going to be amazing. And I'm so excited to be able to be the year after David, to learn more, to talk more about everything he's done and continue his success. We don't want to change up everything and make it completely different. We want to just have a continuation of the great work that he's already done. If you see Jacob Davey this weekend, make sure you thank him. He is the person that is making this engine run. So, and my number one, and that is our field. Car Shield Field will have not only a UWIF style feel, but we believe it will be the best venue this tournament's history has ever seen. I was able to do a walkthrough at Car Shield Field the other day before some collegiate baseball, and I spent an hour by myself in the stadium walking around, measuring things out, thinking of ideas, looking around at different things. It is a partnership that we are excited for. We've had the MO WIFF Classic the past couple of years there. Will Smithy and Reed Warner, Connor Jaso, and many more were there last year, and Jordan, and other people have seen this venue before. So we're excited that Car Shield Field is going to be the host of 2026, and we have more to come about the great things this field has to offer, but you won't want to miss it. Thank you for staying tuned to our top 5 things to be excited about in STL for the 2026 NAA tournament, and that will do it, folks. That is my 3 top 5 lists, all regarding the NWLA tournament, which will be this weekend. We can't wait for one of the best weekends of the Wiffle year. Drive and fly safe, everyone, and see many of you on Friday in Pittsburgh for the 14th installment of this great tournament. Talk soon.